So I'm a little behind on the engine building for the Desert Dart, but I got to get crack-a-lackin'. I just made a video of thanking everyone. If you didn't watch that, I'm thanking you again. Here it is. Right now I'm putting rings onto the pistons. Then I'm going to start putting these things all together and getting this all put in. Whenever you build an engine, always take notes. I put this into a spreadsheet so that way I have it on record, on files, so that way when I take this thing apart for whatever reason, I can just go back and look at my measurements and go from there. And yeah, so all of these things have already been balanced. I'm putting these on there. Then I have a nice little bucket that I clean everything in, and so that way it's nice and clean to go in. Anyways, as I start going with this, I will keep you guys posted. Moving along. Well, today's Sunday, and I got these 4 in on this side. Yeah, I still haven't got all these in yet, but just kind of working through and slowly doing it. You know, just take your time. Don't mess up. You know, just keep on moving along. It's kind of what I use over here is as I put them together, I do them in sets of 4 for the rings. I always just seem to use whatever 2-stroke oil. That way, if it gets in between the rings and whatnot, it's going to burn off and it's not really going to hurt anything. I try not to use engine oil between the rings because it burns up. ATF or 2-stroke oil. Either one's going to burn up really nicely, and that way it's not in between the rings and gets a bunch of crap in there. But anyways, moving on. We're going to see if we can get these other 4 in this afternoon. Alrighty. Another very important step is when you get to 2 rods, you always got to check the clearance between the 2 rods. So here I have my go no go gauges once again, and you have 8, 9, and 10 on the big end. That's the big end is this side, and then this right here, these are always 2,000 smaller. So you always come down here, put them in here, and then just kind of put them in. You want just a little bit of resistance. So there you go. That's 10 thousandths of clearance between the rods. So I'm going to do that as I go down each one. What these are just basically spun in by hand. They're not tightened down. They're not torqued yet. I do that all at one time as I flip it over. So I'm going to move on, get this all done, and then as I torque these down, you'll see how I do. I torque them, and then I do with the rod stretch gauge. Alrighty. When using the gauge for rod bolt stretch gauge, sometimes you're going to have where they just aren't the same length. That bolt on that side is zeroed out. So then what I did is I just used one of these lines to get that one. So that one's about 9.5 as far as from 0. Then that one's different. So that way you have some sort of mark. I'm going to torque these up, and I will show you in just a second. Well, actually, I'll just show you right now. So right here is what they're looking for. The bolts that I'm using are these ones right here. They want 90 foot-pounds, somewhere between 50 and 60. Well, actually, this is 5 and 6,000. Sorry, 5 and 6,000. Sorry, I'm looking through a screen, so it's hard to tell. So yeah, I'm going to try to shoot for right in the middle. Split that sucker right down the middle, and we'll call it good. Alrighty. I was going to show you the other side, but it's just when you do math. But that shows it right exactly at 5.5. That's exactly 87 foot-pounds. When I went to 90, it was just on the 6 side. I want to shoot for the 5.5, so it's 87 foot-pounds, and it was 87 on both of them to get to that spec. So I'm going to do the same thing all the way down, and as I go down, I mark them as I've done them. Alrighty. Here's another little valuable tech tip. If you take your feeler gauges and on the big end, which is the thick end, and you know that's 10 thousandths, you just slide them between there. So when you torque down this bolt here and this bolt here, you're not going to rock the rod. This will keep them torque tight in between there, and then just take them out and then put it over here for the same thing when you torque down this one. So that way you're not rocking the rod. I've got a pretty good amount of clearance here. I got about 3 thousandths clearance, both main and rods. I'm doing that on purpose. I want a lot of oil flow, and I'm going to have I already explained some of the oiling system, but as I build this, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I want the oil to flow through this thing. So anyways, we're diverging here. Just do this, and that way you don't twist the rod. It's a really good tech tip. All right, so there it is. These are all been torqued, all been stretched. It's a little hard to have them all, but always mark them. As you do them, mark them. I can't emphasize that enough, so that way you know. If you took the time to mark it, you know it's right. Also, leave yourself little notes. So like this bolt right here, when I was doing this on the gauge, this one was 5 thousandths over the 6. So then I brought down the torque a little bit more, and then that's how I got the 87. And then I did these here at 87, and they all came out boom, right on track too. So it worked out good. And then also too, when get yourself one of these. You got to have one of these. This way I can actually torque them 3 times in here, and then before I put them in. So that way you know that the rod's been torqued, it's been polished, it polishes in the threads. It's totally worth it. Also too, it's just really nice, you know, vise to get it. But yeah, anything like this, just any type of, I like the ones with the little hoop on the end. I used to have 2 of them. I don't know what happened to them. This is my boss's actually. I'm going to give it back to him tomorrow. But yeah, you got to get one of these and just go from there. So yeah, this is a short block is done. Pretty stoked about it. And like I was telling you, this is the 6.4 reluctor on it. So yeah, we're going to go through. The next thing I'm going to do on this is we're going to put all the plugs in it. I'm going to put a cam in, and we're going to degree a cam, and you'll get to see the fun that's involved. Anyways, this is going up today, and yeah, alrighty.